Hey, welcome back to the Gilbertson Aero Factory. Today is Monday, the 26th of June, 2023, middle of the afternoon, so it's going to be another hot one. Today's going to be very similar to yesterday. I'm going to get this tank out of the way and do the same thing to the right tank, which is to get the two end ribs installed. Once that's done, then I will probably do a fresh batch of sealant and get all the bits and pieces done. So fuel sender, fuel pickup, all that kind of stuff. That's where we're at today. Let's see how far we get. With any luck, we'll get through all of those bits and pieces today, and then tomorrow will be the beginning of closing out the tanks with the baffles. So anyways, that's it for now. I'll catch up with you on the other side. Let's build an airplane.
Starting off with a little housekeeping, so to speak. This is the left tank where we finished off yesterday. And I think that I'm just looking for a suitable pop rivet to go in that spot in the fuse attach bracket that we talked about yesterday that you just can't get a flush rivet set in there to drive it. And check this out. That is the leftover sealant that was inside that syringe. So, yep, Austin wasn't lying. You can reuse those things. It just comes out like a ball of rubber. It wasn't really too difficult at all to clean that out. He said that you can get maybe 3 or 4 uses out of one before I think the plunger gets too gummy. But I have 2 completely unused that I'll be able to use for the baffles, which is what I'm going to be moving on to today. Now I've got the right tank out here, and this work is going to be very similar to the day before. It's putting in the end ribs, starting with the outboard end rib, and okay, I know what I'm doing. There was a rivet on the fuel cap flange that I just didn't like, and so I had decided that I was going to go ahead and replace that one. The squeezer on the flush side, on the skin side of it, somehow the squeezer as a whole slipped on the sealant, and then it left a little crease in that rivet head, and I hated it. And now's the time to get that thing out while I have access to it. So that's what I did there. But yeah, same-ish stuff as yesterday. What did I do differently? After mixing up a batch of sealant, you would see me leave and I'd run into the house and basically put that stuff inside the fridge to get a little more work time out of it while I set one rib. If you recall, while doing the interior ribs, I was able to set 2 at a time, like go through the whole process of putting sealant on the flange, setting it in place, clecoing it in place, grabbing another rib, doing the same thing, and then get into the riveting. I can't really do that with this because there's more work to be done on the interior rib that I thought would be kind of pressing me for time, because before you can do the inboard, the root rib, you still have to worry about the doubler plate that's on the inside. So this time I didn't take it inside and put the sealant in the fridge. I just put it inside the laundry room. I feel like if I spend 30 minutes or 45 minutes, let's say, working on this rib right here, when I bring the sealant back out, it actually needs a little bit of time to come back up to temp to become workable. So that's something that I did differently. This rib went on pretty easily, although there were 2 rivets that I didn't like. The first 2 rivets, like the 2 leading edge rivets, top and bottom, both of them sucked. So I think once I'm done getting this all riveted on, I think I go ahead and drill those 2 out and replace them before I move on to onto the root rib. And okay, so I I told you that on the other tank that I taped up that edge, and ended up with a little tape under the flange, and I tried to get it out on this day, the day that we're watching here, and I couldn't get all of it out. And I mean, it's such a small amount. It must be overlapping or underlapping the flange by a fraction of a fraction, like a 64th of an inch. But thankfully, those flanges are really square to the skin, so you just can't get that bit out. It doesn't affect the seal. That's not a sealing point. Just I'll forever know that there's that little bit of tape right there. And by a little bit of tape, I mean it's like a strip of maybe a half an inch. It's going to drive me nuts. Okay, so now moving on to the root rib, and you see me there getting the inboard, that doubler that goes on the inboard side of that, or inside portion of that rib, buttered up and back there. Great camera angle, headless for this entire video. So yeah, I got that in place. It goes pretty quickly when it's sped up by a factor of 25. But yeah, I got that one in place and riveted on with those two 1097 rivets so that we can do this right here, get it set in place and riveted and get all of that done, get a nice fillet on it. You know what? I'm pretty happy with the quality, the apparent quality of the fillets around all of these edges. I see good, clean, unbroken fillets. That being said, I still have to leak test this thing, and if I do end up with leaks, I'm not going to be shocked because this is like the 23rd, 24th tank episode, and every time you're working on this, you're thinking, is this going to leak? And it's a big unknown until you're done. You can't see underneath or inside of those rib flanges and around the rivet heads, or as the rivets pass through and everything like that. You just do the best that you can to make sure that you have blocked all the paths where fuel can escape. So we'll see what we see when we do get to leak testing. But other than that, this was all fairly straightforward work. Once this root rib is riveted in place, and it is, there you go. It was on this end. It was on the root rib side, the inboard side. That's where I hated those two rivets and replace them. And then, so we'll get through this, get those, and it wasn't a big deal to replace them. Very clean, quick and easy to do. Fair amount of cleanup on the skin on the inside there. You don't really get very much squeeze through at all because of the way that you're putting the sealant on these ribs. There really shouldn't be any sealant on the rivet lines themselves. It's sealing in from inside of there, but as you're placing the ribs in there, it's really challenging to kind of keep everything perfectly aligned and straight as you drop it in. So there'll be some adjusting, you get some squeeze out, and you need to clean that up because, at least on the what would be the left end as you're looking at it right here, the outboard portion of it, that splice strip that mates the fuel tank with the leading edge comes really close to that flange, so you can't have any buildup of old sealant in that spot. Now I'm riveting on the fuselage attach bracket and adding a little extra sealant in there. And if I played this in real time, you'd see me cursing this one effing rivet. The very nose one, and the rivet gun kind of bounced on me and made an ugly mark on that attach bracket that nobody will ever see, but still, on a hot day like this, I'm not holding my tongue. Everything kind of makes you mad when it doesn't go perfectly. Got that done, buttering up the flange, or rather the components to set the the vent line. This is the right wing. So we're getting the vent line attached and all torqued in place, and that's done. And then once this is done, we'll flip back over to the, we'll get back into the left tank because we still owe the flop tube on that. If you recall in the previous episode, we had to stop short of completing that because I had to take it back out and torque it to the elbow fitting and do all that business. So there I'm putting that that pop rivet that I told you that's going to be underneath the washer for the fitting that holds the flop tube in place. And now we're finally getting the flop tube installed. It's great success. Very happy with how it turned out. So, I mean, I already mentioned it in this video. I'm a bit anxious, about what we're going to find during leak testing. Before I close everything out with the baffles, if you saw my list, which I've got a lot done on it. In fact, right here, I'll throw up an updated version of the list. One big item is check everything. So I'll go through these tanks inside and out, and I'll probably add some fresh sealant to any points that I'm not 100% certain about, and bulk it up a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and attach the baffles, and we'll save the access plates for last so that we can still kind of look in there and feel good about the seal around the baffle, the back of the closeout. So coming up here is a look at the flop tube in its position, and we're good to go. That's episode 79. Thanks for being here.